Hi and hello, my fellow football Americans. I hope you've enjoyed the return from Cloud 9 back here to planet Earth after a glorious wild card weekend, good and drunk. Not me, the games, and maybe some of the broadcasters. You see, like we've talked about here, the NFL's got two basic types of QBs. They're the gunslingers born from Elway, Favre, and Roethlisberger, guys more inclined to throw caution and the ball and the design play to the wind. And now we have Stafford, Allen, and Caleb Williams, who I hereby rebrand Emo Elway. They are the moonshine to the more sober QBs cut from the cloth of Brady, Peyton, and Breeze. Now, they've been marginalized with the name game manager, but these guys are calculated and lethally accurate. That's why I call them assassins. Good title for someone like Brock Purdy, but he's also kind of the human version of a Shirley Temple, which is fine for him, but some QBs just plain ain't cut out to be teetotalers. I'm looking at you, Hurts and Herbert. For what it's worth, Kyle Shanahan must know I'm onto something, considering he took a shot and had his wide receiver throw the go-ahead fourth quarter touchdown pass. Fun. I don't know. Maybe the Russell Wilson interception at the goal line at the end of Super Bowl 49 created some sort of enduring cautionary tale for QBs and their coaches. Maybe even a commentary on class warfare with an elite being taken down by a butler. Either way, I thought half of football America screaming the Bills shouldn't try to score from the one with a minute left was a fascinating paradox of conservative and aggressive. A crash at the intersection of gunslinger and assassin. I get it. Of course, you don't want to give Trevor Lawrence that much time, but suggesting they take the snap and run around but not lose yardage but also not fumble is a bit too much. Like I say, a paradox. In a sport built on giant human beings running into each other at full speed on purpose, you can only play it so safe. It's a mistake to ask Josh Allen to ditch the Superman cape and try to be Clark Kent. Pro football already had Bob Greasy anyway. Your nerves are going to be tested over the decade-plus, Bears fans, but drafting Emo Elway, then hoping he plays it safe is like buying a Ferrari and only using it to run errands. Rooting for a gunslinger may be more stressful, but ultimately, it's way more fun. I think we can all drink to that. And I was lying earlier. I am drunk. Let's start the show. Oh, yes. Hi and hello, my fellow football Americans. Welcome to episode 42 of Football America. We're presented as ever by our pals over at DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Where to start, where to go from there, I don't know. We only have 50 minutes to get it all in. It seems unfair right out of the gate, but we'll do the best we can. We even have to talk about some college football, too. First things first, very quickly before we talk more about the wild card weekend, we do have the business of honoring the player who wore the episode number best, 42. We can do it quickly. It's Jackie Robinson. Clearly he wore it best, but in the NFL, Ronnie Lott did. In the NBA, James Worthy gets the honor. And in Major League Baseball, Mariano Rivera is the 1A best to wear number 42 behind Jackie. Now, let's get into it, fellas. Hello, Fuentes boys. I know all of Miami is excited for next Monday night, the national championship game. Fernando, the prodigal son, heading home to his Cuban house to play the U. Like I said on Lebitard on Friday, it's the U versus two, TU with the accent over it. That's what you have to confront if you're a Miami football fan. Let's talk about the wild card in the meantime, though. By the way, shout out to Soup Campbell up there in the Pacific Northwest, honoring the late, great Bobby Weir, who passed away over the weekend. Good stuff. Exactly. Wearing the tie-dye there. Sad times for everybody who ever indulged the Grateful Dead a little bit, as I did. But there's Geoff Schwartz on the other side. He's down in the dumps. His heart is up in the Pacific Northwest. That's where the Oregon Ducks left their guts, it seems, before they departed for the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. Boy, did they get it handed to them. How are you, Geoff Schwartz?
Indiana is such an improbable story.
Not such an improbable. It is cheating. It's the craziest story. Is it hyperbole to say the craziest story, or not inexplicable? Isn't the wildest story that I can recall?
The most unlikely, the most unlikely college football champion in the history of the sport. Sorry, Miami, you're going to get it this week. And as much as Miami fans have been mocking Oregon for Mario Cristobal making it to the championship before landing, you're going to have the same result. It's the same fate. It's coming for you guys as well in a couple Mondays from now. But Indiana is so good that there are internet sleuths that swear they're hacking clouds and they're getting practice scripts and they're doing all this other stuff. I don't know. I just think that Dante Moore made a bad read on the first play of the game. I'm not sure it's anything more than that. And I mean, they beat the shit out of us, dude. It was ugly. And I've thought, and I'm not a historian of sports like you are, Dave. You know, you make those lists every year of the best athletes from every city. Like you are in tune to your sports history. There's nothing like this. I mean, look, in pro sports, you know, you can have a young team that just gets hot at the right time, but those typically have like generational superstars right on them. And even in those teams, they typically take a year or two to get into the playoffs and figure it out, and they go through trials and tribulations. They finally win their championship, right? I mean, if you want to call last year that trial and tribulation for Indiana, sure, it was one game, and then they just got better, right? They added Mendoza, and everyone got older, and they're now 16-0. I mean, there's no explanation for this.
Somewhere during the broadcast of the Peach Bowl, the conversation turned to, is this the greatest college football team of all time? It's so without any sort of context because it has so much to do with, and I'm not trying to be a curmudgeon or a cynic about it, but so much of it has to do with the NIL age in which we sit. This couldn't have happened even, forget about 25 years ago, this couldn't have happened 5 years ago. I do think for what it matters, this is crazier than the 1980 U.S. hockey team beating the Soviet Union. I don't think it has a comparison in my lifetime for the crazy storyline that it is. Now, you can undermine it with stuff like by pointing out that a lot of those Indiana Hoosiers are 25-year-old, and that more than offsets the fact that the Oregon Ducks are loaded up with blue chippers, same as Ohio State and Alabama. Yeah, they're boys though. They're playing the men of Indiana University, right? That's and the cheating stuff I dismiss until
that's not happening. Okay. But one of your wide receivers who caught a touchdown pass in that game also caught a touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence in 2020. Which is like, how's that possible? By the way, Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. Just I want to make sure that's clear there. It's remarkable, man. And they're just so workmanlike. I mean, Mendoza has less incompletions more touchdown passes than incompletions so far. Every throw he makes is right where it has to be. There's no doubt about it. I think he's too nice, Dave.
I think he's the biggest. I'm using a lot of hyperbole here. By the way, just very quickly, may I say, as an Indiana University alum, if you told me the Indiana Hoosiers would beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, and that the Indiana Hoosiers beat the Alabama Crimson Tide in the Rose Bowl, and you told me that the Indiana Hoosiers beat Oregon for the second time in the same season in the Peach Bowl and destroyed them, and it was the national semifinal, I would say, boy, is that great if that happens over the next 50 years. It took 1 month for all those things to happen. It's just loco. But to your point, Fernando is the biggest dork I think I've seen in pros. I mean, in big time sports. And who's the comparison for him?
So after the game, there's a video of him running over to Dan Lanning to give him like a handshake. I'd rather he just give us two middle fingers. I'd rather just be an asshole. I'd rather that be who my quarterback is than someone who's so nice, like him. And maybe other fans feel that way as well. I mean, it's Cousins and Russell Wilson, all in one. That's who this is. And did you know that his dad played with Mark Cristobal in high school? So that storyline is going to be beat to death this week. Oh my
God, it's already worse than Brady was a 6th round draft pick. It's approaching Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard territory.
Wait, Ryan went to Harvard? No,
yeah, it turns out.
Did you know that Clayton Kershaw and Matt Stafford played high school?
All right, it's together? Enough. It's enough. We have too much to get to.
All right, good job for Indiana. They kicked their ass. It sucks. It is what it is. I'm bummed by it.
Destruction. It was a destruction.
Yeah, Dave, you said when I was on last week, you're like, I wish you the best. I was like, no, wish me the worst, please. And the worst happened.
All right, 2 middle fingers to you and all Oregon Ducks fans. I hope you like it. All right, let's talk pro football. Wild card review, points per game, the wild card round edition. Let's start with the game that started the wild card round, a game that ended up being pretty juicy down there right in your backyard, Charlotte, North Carolina, the Rams and the Panthers. What was your big takeaway from this one?
The Rams are still flawed, man. Like, I want to like them a lot, but this is multiple times this year they've had the situation where they can't put teams away. Their game management, I thought, for a McVay team was odd. They came out in the second half, and their first 15 plays over the first 3 drives second half, they called 12 passes, completed 2 of them. Run the football, man. Like, what are we doing here? And it just was kind of sloppy in the second half. I really want to like them a lot, but they do a lot of things that make me think that they're going to lose a game in a dumb way, which they've done so far this season multiple times. On the other side, look, this is sort of an arrival for the Panthers, right? They backed in the playoffs, and they were up with 5 minutes left in a home playoff game. I mean, it was a great performance by them. So the Panthers, good for them. No, I'm not surprised that they played their best effort. But
before you close the book on the Carolina Panthers of this season, Bryce Young, are you happy with him? What's your comfort level with him if you're a Carolina Panthers backer going forward now?
Man, it feels like we know the worst case, right? Which is like the Kyler Murray Tua contract, right? You give him that contract, it's just not good enough. The best case is probably something like Jalen Hurts, right? Where, Hurts didn't play his best this year, but that's not really the point of this. Like, if you put all the pieces around him, you can get the best out of him and win a Super Bowl, right? Like, that's the best case scenario, I feel like. And maybe it's like a Darnold, right? Like you just put everything around him and you win a bunch of football games, but you're not going to he's not a generational talent. I mean, look at the guys that played this weekend, even the guy that would cross from him, Matt Stafford. But if you put the pieces around him, it can work, but it can also go be a Tua or Kyler Murray situation pretty fast. The problem is, Dave, you're kind of stuck because what are you going to do? You're not going to get another quarterback. So you're going to have to pay him and figure out how to draft well and put a team around him.
You definitely do have to pay him, and it's exactly right. It's the conundrum. Just because you take a guy first overall or somewhere close to that, it's the Jared Goff thing. Jared Goff, by the way, I want to talk about the team still relevant, but it's funny that I stumble into a Jared Goff reference here because we were talking. We had the big Shakey's banquet over the weekend, the big fantasy league Shakey's banquet, and so we were yapping about this, that, and the other. And the Detroit Lions, as I have said since the start of this show, the straws that stir the drink in the NFL these days are the progressive play callers, Ben Johnson being one of them. And the loss of Ben Johnson was going to slowly cause the demise of the Detroit Lions, and so it did. If you're the Detroit Lions, are you really just this offseason like, yep, we're sticking with Jared Goff? I know you have to based on performance, but it also feels awfully uninspired and sort of akin to you're the Carolina Panthers sticking with Bryce Young. Deep down in your balls, you can pay him however much you want to pay him, but that doesn't turn them into a top 6, top 8 QB.
I think the problem is there's just not a lot of choices. And this is what teams get stuck into, right, Dave? Is like Goff is fine. If they can get Mike McDaniel there as the OC, like I think that's the best option, right?
You're not going to. He's going to get an NFL head coaching job. People keep doing that. Like he should be an OC on my team. Yeah, that'd be great, except he's going to get offered a head coaching gig somewhere.
I mean, there is not enough coaches in this cycle, I think, that are great. And there's 8 availabilities. And then maybe there's an availability in Philly too. I said this on another podcast. They're like, you could put a traffic cone as a Philly head coach and nothing would change about their program whatsoever.
So true.
I just don't. I don't get why Sirianni is still there. It makes 0 sense to me. Their freaking security guard has a headset on during games. Like, what are we doing?
He's fighting with the star wide receiver.
Go. You're a security guard. Go be a security guard.
I know, but Jalen Hurts is their QB, and he's very good, but he's not Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Josh Allen, and yet 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, and they won one.
I know.
And they were both against the Chiefs. It's crazy. It makes no sense.
If Sirianni gets fired, there are 0 teams that would hire him to be their head coach. Like, we talk a lot about Mike Tomlin, right? And his job. He could hire tomorrow if he was fired, if he wanted to coach another season. No one will hire Sirianni. There wouldn't be a single team. He's not a play caller either. He'd go be like an analyst in college football somewhere for 3 years and rehab himself and then be in, I don't know what he would do after that, quarterback coach somewhere. And even call plays. Offensive guy that has no play calling experience, can't call plays.
As Daniel Jeremiah once said to me, Nick Sirianni is supposed to be the vibes guy. And when the vibes are that bad, then what's the point of having him as your head coach? It's exactly right.
I thought that's Big Dom's job is to be the vibes guy. Isn't he like culture setter? Isn't that like one of his titles?
You would think so. Yeah, that makes sense.
So the thing with the quarterback, with Bryce Young, Jared Goff, all these guys, is the unknown is pretty scary, right? There is not a lot of options in the draft this year, right? For your guys going to Raiders. And then Dante Moore may or may not come out, but I think there's a lot of work there to be done with Dante Moore. Ty Simpson, who knows? Chambliss might come out because he has to. And then, Kirk Cousins, Murray, like Tua. It's not a lot of great options. So you want to build around those guys. That's what I think Carolina's going to do. Just build around Bryce Young. Detroit continue to build around Jared Goff.
I love Tua, by the way. Just once again, overly honest. That's the theme of Tua. And a microphone. Man, you don't have to be that honest all the time. Hey, what do you think about playing for another team? Man, that'd be dope. Don't say that. You're being a dope when the team is paying you $150 million or whatever they are. Don't say it would be dope to go play somewhere else. Meantime, Matthew Stafford proving to be the genuine article. An imperfect game, not his best. He did get bonked on the hand, and you saw the bruise on it during the game and everything else. But when it mattered, the gunslinger rose up with the season on the line and drove him down the field. Nails. I think remember, it was only like a year or 2 ago, even after the Super Bowl, people were still questioning whether or not Matthew Stafford was a Hall of Famer. I don't think anyone would suggest as much anymore at this point. And I do think that given the look of the NFC here, I absolutely can see the Rams going to the Super Bowl, but there is a lot of hash left to be settled elsewhere. So let's move on to the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears game. A lot of people calling for LeFleur's head after what was an abysmal fourth quarter. Overall, I don't know how much of it you can place on him. I'm a LeFleur guy. I did love Ben Johnson saying, F the Packers. That's great stuff. What we want is some hate. Please continue to give us this pro football.
I just said earlier that I want my quarterbacks to be spiteful. So I love my head coach being spiteful.
Yes.
Good. We need pro sports needs rivalries. We need some hatred. And now we have a Bears-Packers hatred. I love it, right? Good for Ben Johnson, that handshake and all of it. And look, the Bears have done 7 comebacks this year, down, losing with 2 minutes left and winning the game. But to me, the Packers, the last 7 drives, 1 touchdown, 4 punts, and missed field goal, end of game. And you cannot lose a game like that. The Bears had won 2 games this year when they had forced 1 or less turnovers. They've now won 3. They were actually -2 in turnovers in this game. Everything they had done in the past to win the games weren't happening. They won anyways. And so credit them for continuing to battle and fight and claw. And Caleb Williams continues to show, look, he's got to complete more passes, obviously, but just the generational arm talent is so apparent. And
do you agree with my historical comp for him? His new nickname, Emo Elway. That's who he is, right? I mean, that's imperfect for 3 quarters at least, throws his team into trouble and then throws them out of trouble with some heroic stuff at the end. You have to adjust your eye. If you are
Gen Z Elway.
Yeah. Gen Z Elway. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Emo Elway is a little bit cuter, but all right. Either way. Yeah, listen, you had to adjust your eye when Elway was still going, when in an age of hyper accuracy from Steve Young and all of that. This guy is going to be flawed. He's going to get you into trouble by being too risky, but more often than not, he's going to take you out of the trouble because of the arm talent, as you describe, and the wheels and everything else. That play he made on fourth quarter is, I mean, even if they lose next week, it still is iconic for Bears fans and proves that he is the answer, even if he is completing 58% of his passes.
It should get better, though. And I have, I've long said this year for the Bears is all about doing enough to see if Caleb Williams is your guy of the future. And that's what they've done. Like, he's very clearly your guy. Now you build the best team around him, get him to be more efficient earlier in games, especially. This is a great game this weekend because the Rams have blown so many leads this year and the Bears have come back in so many games. I'm curious which one of those gives on Sunday. I believe this game is Sunday. So we'll find out.
I love it, and they both, like I say, I mean, I don't know, I'm a broken record about it, but I just love the gunslinger mentality and embracing that as the head coach instead of trying to steer away from that and have them play nice and sober. That you're taking away their superpower when you ask them to do that. Moving on to the next game, Buffalo, Jacksonville. Like I said, and, you know, we have the jerk list coming up, and I suspect that the Fuentes boys will dig in here. Maybe I'll jump the gun a little bit and do it myself. Right, 59 minutes in, they push Josh Allen down to the 1 yard line, and the big cry from at least half of the viewers was, don't score too soon, which I get, but it's an over adjustment, right? It's a weird place to get to that you don't want to give the other team the ball. Right, you don't want to give them the ball. On the other hand, you're at the 1 yard line. What are you supposed to do to kill the clock? If you take a knee, you're by definition going back a yard or two. So what you're asking Josh Allen to do is take the snap and lean into the line of scrimmage, but not go too far because you don't want him to get into the end zone. But also don't fumble the ball. And hey, everybody out here, this would be a real bad time for a penalty. So don't do that either. Of course, you just have to score. What else are you going to do?
I mean,
okay, well, tell me the X and O of
look,
not losing an inch, but killing the clock.
You would take a knee.
You can't take a knee. You would then be not at the 1 yard line. You'd be at the 2 yard line.
The way that Buffalo had done that game with the tush push, I think they got the one that was kind of given to them, but otherwise they had done a really good job on that. It feels like, and again, this is like playing Madden or College Football 26. Like, this is very, very video game-esque idea, right? Where you take a knee and then you just have 3 chances to get 2 yards or 1 yard, right? Essentially, and the game is over. But again, if you don't score there, you get fired. So I get it, and you just play defense, and they picked off Lawrence immediately after that. I mean, how dumb am I, Dave? I picked the Chargers and the Jaguars this weekend with real money. I put real American dollars that I earned, not from this show, but I've earned.
I feel bad, I talked you into the Chargers on something.
No.
Okay,
you did not. Don't worry.
Good.
I used my real money for that. I haven't told my family yet, but I used real money to bet on the Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars this weekend.
Someone's drunk.
And I regret it. I'm gonna have to own up to that to my family one day. And it was bad. It was bad. I should have just taken Buffalo and taken the best quarterback in that game and lived to see another day with the best quarterback in it. Thankfully, too, I had most of the game on mute. It sounded like it was a rough Tony Romo game.
Ooh, I already mentioned the booze. It was exactly, I can't pat myself on the back for going simple-minded in the game pick. I just said, Trevor Lawrence has really played better than Josh Allen has in the last 6 or 8 weeks, and yet I rode with Josh Allen to win the game single-handedly, which is basically what he did. Shout out Trey White with some big plays as well along the way to sort of turn the game here and there. But Jacksonville was great, just not great enough. I mean, they really, in that fourth quarter, that was more or less the script of the wild card weekend and fed off of a lot of the college football games we saw, which was certainly the Ole Miss game, which was not much happens for 3 quarters, and then neither team can stop either back and forth all fourth quarter long. I thought among those games, I thought the Jacks and Buffalo back and forth exhibited some real high-end stuff from Trevor Lawrence and from Josh Allen. Just a bummer for Jags fans. I continue not to be one of these people who says, whoever wins that game's going to the Super Bowl. I do not think the Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl. They are a one-man show, and having your QB, that one man getting the shit kicked out of him for 60 minutes is not a winning formula.
I was looking at this. Did I save this tweet from earlier about division? Here we go right here. So the Buffalo Bills are a favorite in this game. All right. If the Broncos close as underdogs, which they're the 1 seed, it'd be the fourth time in the last 40 years a team off a bye in divisional round isn't listed as the favorite. And in all those times, the home team won the game as the underdog. So
I will take the Broncos 10 out of 10. I'm very confident in that one. Very confident. Mm-hmm. How say you?
I mean, same idea. I get Josh Allen or I get Bo Nix. I don't know, man.
I know you're down on Bo Nix. Okay.
I'm not down. I think that he has some skill. I think there's some concerns.
Hey, the good news is misery loves company, right? Mike Fuentes, somebody else picked the Jacksonville Jaguars, and a guy who loves to, before he picks the Jaguars every week, loves to say, I'm a Trevor Lawrence hater, but...
I am.
Mike Fuentes, how say you?
It's my hedge. And what did Trevor Lawrence do? He regressed to the mean at the worst possible time.
No. You get no credit for saying I told you
Dave,
so when you picked the
Dave,
Jags.
That's the game. That's the game. You play both sides. I win either way. Now he sucks. There you go. I said it all along. I hit it. I hit it right on the head. Congrats to me.
Let's move on to the Niners and Eagles game. I feel like this is the one that people are buzzing about the most. By the way, very quickly, because you mentioned Sirianni losing his job, which I completely get. I don't get the LeFleur should lose his job. How say you on that one, despite the debacle that the fourth quarter was in Chicago?
I mean, look, I've tweeted out he should lose his job. I know what I'm doing with engagement every now and then. But, I mean, I don't know what – are the Packers ever going to scale up is the question. From with LeFleur. My answer is probably no, and that's not really his fault. I think Jordan Love isn't that. The best way to look at the Packers is this, Dave, especially offensively. Give me one thing about their offense that scares you.
Jordan Love is good. They're loaded with pass catchers. Josh Jacobs is pretty nice. And if Micah Parsons is out there, they win that game and remain the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. You've built your defense around that one guy largely, and he went out, and that was that. He was their Jenga piece. They lost him. The thing imploded on him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that
sure.
We can poke holes in them otherwise, but it comes down to that.
Yeah, but I don't think they're ever going to win enough to make everyone happy. But the answer is this, there's no one else to go get. You're not getting a better coach. So why would you fire him? You can get a better coach than Nick Sirianni. I mean, anyone could do it. One of us could just stay on the sidelines and do nothing all game and yell at fans and argue with players and whatever, and we would do just the same job that Sirianni's doing.
Okay, but also LeFleur helped get what appeared to be, this seems loco to say about Aaron Rodgers 5 or 6 years ago, but people are starting to say, yeah, his best days are behind him 5 or 6 years ago, and then he wins the MVP.
Correct.
Then they transition into Jordan Love, who he turns into, who I think in long stretches, a lot of people would say, boy, Jordan Love's got it. And then Malik Willis goes out there who looked like, just looked like a bust of a NFL player, and then looks like a guy who's now going to get $30-40 million this offseason. Who's responsible for that, at least in part? It's the aforementioned progressive play caller named LeFleur. I think you'd be loco to kick him to the curb when, like I say, so much of this season was built around you going out and getting Micah Parsons. He got hurt. What are you going to do?
That's certainly fair. I also think, look, all weekend we saw just bad coaching decisions in big moments. And I think we have to accept that every coach is just not good at game management. There's not a lot of coaches good at it. And LeFleur fell in that trap again of just the play calling just wasn't very good in the second half of that game. And that's how a lot of teams are. There's no one, every coach does this every game, and we act like it's a surprise. They can't manage the game.
They get spooked. They see the end of the line. There is no room left behind it. There is not roadway ahead. There is a brick wall if they lose the game, and they run into it all the time. It's very strange how they get spooked and they lose their balls, and they ask their superhero quarterbacks to play it nice and safe, and that's where things come undone for them. I think they season long, not running Jalen Hurts around is taking away, his primary virtue as your quarterback, right? I mean, I think that's the limitation of the Eagles offense. We've talked about so many other things, and A.J. Brown being a pain in the ass and dropping that ball in a big spot was a bad look for him. But really, if you have Jalen Hurts as your QB, you got to run him around more than they used him all season long, right?
I think the problem is there's a shelf life for that, Dave, and quarterbacks see it too, and that you
think it's him deciding not to run.
I think it's both. I think it's that it's just at some point you can't do that anymore. Your body just can't take the pounding of that being part of the offense. And I think we're going to see both Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts next season. I think they're going to find themselves, because I think both have the same issue where the offense is so geared and around them being able to run the football, not scrambling, right? Just running the football as part of the run game, that they're going to find OCs that it's not what they're going to do. Now they can still do it as a changeup every now and then. I think a red zone quarterback RPO is a great play call. You get one extra blocker, and it seems to work really well in the red zone. But in the full field, it's hard to make that offense. I think both those guys are going to find offense coordinators this year that take that out of them and make them into more traditional pocket guys. You look, the thing about this league, man, is no matter how mobile you are at that position, the same thing always wins, right? Can you make passes on third down from the pocket? That's what wins you championships, and that's what your offense has to be geared around being successful doing.
I always advocated exactly for what you're talking about until Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl a year ago. If you want it, it's not a mystery, and it's. As much as I said, if you're the Buffalo Bills, and I've said this for 3 or 4 years, Josh Allen, yes, you cut him loose come January, but up until that moment, you've got to keep him nice and safe. And so that's a weird way to approach a season that your superhero QB, but you got to keep him out of the cape until the games really, really, really start to matter. Where Jalen Hurts is concerned, I think it's a little blurrier. I think you have to run him around. But listen, they win the division. They're at home in that game. That's the spot where you cut loose Jalen Hurts. Use your superpower, man. And they never did. And I think that's why they lost that game.
They also lost. You could go online and look at videos. I mean, Dan Orlovsky pulling out the last 10 plays are just atrocious. They call the same play back-to-back times, the same exact pass play. It's not good in Philly, man. There are a lot of things that have to get fixed. It starts with finding a coordinator that can get the most out of Jalen Hurts.
It's so funny, though, because they won the Super Bowl less than a year ago as we have this conversation. But it's hard to disagree with A.J. Brown and the head coach shouting at each other on the sideline on Sunday. Lastly, Sunday night football, Chargers, Patriots, another stinker. I don't know how much of it you can put on Justin Herbert. So I ask you, Geoff Schwartz, how much of this do you put on Justin Herbert?
Oh, no. Herbert seems spooked. But again, PFF, did you see how many pressures they had him down for, the Patriots down for in this game? I'm going to make you guess. Herbert attempted 31 passes and got sacked. Well, don't cheat. I can see the zoom too. He is cheating I can see it as well.
That was Gino Fuentes, by the way. Gino Fuentes was the one ruining the game, by the way.
How many pressures, Dave, do you think the Chargers offensive line allowed?
I don't know. I just saw him looking dead on the field all fourth quarter. 30 pressures.
Yeah. I get Herbert has to play better. I absolutely agree. But he went into that game knowing he was going to get his ass kicked. And when quarterbacks feel that way, Dave, they start like he started. They're just not very good. And, I think Herbert has to come out this year and be vocal about getting this offensive line fixed. I know the tackles will come back, but the interior guys are not very good. Bozeman rates 41 of 41 on PFF graded centers. There are 32 NFL teams. He's 41 of 41.
Well, I don't even know that I would say Herbert was so spooked as his offensive line was. I mean, all fourth quarter, they kept taking procedure penalties. I mean, they just kept getting moved back.
The last play of the game
was crazy.
The Patriots rushed 3 and got a sack.
Yeah. I come out of that game feeling more sad for Justin Herbert than pointing the finger at him for the loss. That said, you can't. Oh my God, the bottom line is you got to point. If the team is built largely around you, the offense is, you've got to do more than what Justin Herbert did. There is no excuse ultimately.
The shot he took, I thought he was dead. I thought he might be dead.
There were times where I really thought like he's out cold on the field at least.
Like it was so bad. It was so bad. I'll tell you what, the internet, man, the memes, the tweets, the Herbert stuff, the Eagle. If you go to that For You tab, it's very sometimes interesting. Like you kind of want to avoid it, but sometimes it was a banger late last night with the NFL tweets.
All right, let's do it then, Fuentes boys. Let's jump in. It's time for the Jerk List Wild Card Round edition. Of course, if you're a newcomer to the show, here's what we're going to do, or Mike and Gino Fuentes are going to do. They're going to make a statement, and then Geoff Schwartz and I are going to react to it. Is it a knee-jerk reaction, or is it a rational thing to say, given the evidence we have? We may also sprinkle in some garden variety jerks that we've encountered along the way this past week. Take it away, Gino and Mike. Mike and Gino Fuentes.
All right. Great win by the Niners, but losing Kittle, and I think that's it for the Niners. They're dead in the water.
Probably, but I wouldn't count them out. But yes, I think they're probably dead in the water. I don't want the tweets about the whatever power plant next to the practice facility. It feels like a perfect Twitter thing because
I don't know what you're even talking about.
There's a theory out there that the 49ers practice next to one of those like big electrical things, you know what I'm talking about, that has like all the transistors and all that stuff. And because they practice next to that, they're saying that that's the reason for all the injuries.
They've been there for like 40 years, Dave.
I thought you were going to go the other way and say that they've all turned into the Spider-Man bad guy Electro.
Like
they're electrically charged football players.
And so there's this whole theory about like they got to move the practice facility. They've been there for like 40 years. It's
nonsense, Jeff. That's what you want to say. It's nonsense.
It sucks for the Niners, man. I saw someone say this. I think it's true. If the Niners, if Kyle Shanahan coached the Eagles, they'd be 20-0.
Okay. I'll buy that.
I mean, you probably lose a game, 19-1. I mean, the fact is the Niners are doing some incredible stuff. It's just going to be hard to go into Philly. I mean, in Seattle with no Kittle, and it's going to be hard.
Well, what do you say? We've had this conversation over the last month, I feel like a couple of times already, but what do you say if you're Shanny and you're going to Seattle, who just kicked the shit out of you in San Francisco, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? What do you suppose a head coach says in that spot to his team to make him think that the result has a shot at being different?
I mean, you just look at the mistakes you made during that game and you just point them out and say, here, we dropped a pass. Here, we missed a block. Here, we didn't tackle. Like, that's what you do. You just find all the mistakes on film and you show the guys like, look, we lost by 10. It was 13-3, right? We lost by 10 points. Look at all the mistakes we made in this game. That's how you do it.
I think what you do is, I don't know how you articulate this to Sam Darnold, but you make sure he understands that the curse of supposed to looms over his head. He has all the pressure on him. They are now, as the number one seed, the favorite, especially against now this diminished 49ers team. They're supposed to not just defeat them, they're supposed to be in the NFC title game without breaking a sweat now. I think you somehow, what do you say early in the game? We always see the opponents talking to each other. What is something you could get into the ear that he'll hear and maybe spook him with? Like, hey, man, you lose this game, you never come back from this one. Like, there's nothing you could I know you're rich. Good for you, Sam. Congratulations on all the money. You lose this one, you are a career stinker, man. You are a choke artist.
So is that something you say? Walks up to,
I don't know. No. Is that why not do something?
I'll tell you.
I would be saying in the press all week is what I would be doing. Shanahan should be talking about that all week into every microphone available. We
had a guy we played one year. One of our offensive linemen knew him fairly well and said that he doesn't like. Can we cuss on this? I don't know. We could say this.
Sure, you can swear.
He doesn't like to be called a bitch like that. Like, he doesn't like that. Like that. Like, that gets really under his skin when you call him to his face. So we spent the entire game one of the 5 offensive linemen called him a bitch every single play for 65 plays.
Right.
Every single play. One of us went up to his face and was like, you're a bitch. You bitch. Like, just like every single play.
Some people don't care. Some people,
and
it's in one ear, out the other. Other people react to it, right?
It pissed them off so much. There are other guys that we knew, like Haloti Nada, a good buddy of mine. Never talk to Haloti. Like, never piss him off. Like, just be the night. Hey, good to see you, buddy. How you doing? Great game. Great weather today. Yeah, good luck. Like, never piss him off. Other guys, you just like. So Darnold, do you just like? Are you asking about like the mono? Do you see if he's seeing ghosts? Like, I'm curious how that would go with him. But yeah,
without exaggeration, Kyle Shanahan should do it. The reason they don't is because we've reached this weird place in sports where the most important thing is to be collegial with one another and to respect each other as professionals. No, the opposite is what you should do. Ben Johnson, this thing. Talk stuff on Sam Darnold like, man, he loses this. Think about playing golf with $100 on the line. What you say to the guy, to your opponent, is like, man, that water on the right is just, man, that thing is has my ball calling its name the whole time. Get in their head, talk to them. Kyle Shanahan should be talking about the big spot Sam Darnold is in right now and how he has to save the day for the team.
That would be very funny if he did that.
Should.
Yeah.
WWE.
Ask him it's a must-win game. That would be a good one as well.
That's what I'll do. Next up, Fuentes boys.
Matt Ryan has quit his CBS gig to take a front office position with the Falcons. Should Tom Brady do the same with the Raiders, even though he's the owner? Yeah.
Okay. So they're different positions, obviously. That's why Tom Brady doesn't have to do it, right? Because Matt Ryan's like director of football operations, right? Like he's like the general manager. And Tom
Brady's wearing a headset.
Is technically like not, he's the minority owner. I don't really know. Okay, so I question this, Dave. Does Tom Brady actually is involved as they claim he is? Or is it like more of like a Magic Johnson thing where like his name is on everything, but he's not actually like the owner of the Dodgers? Like, like Magic Johnson's like the owner of he's like an owner of the Commanders, an owner of the Dodgers. Like he's not like in the building every day. It's not like he's just, his name
you think Pete Carroll was like, get out of here, Brady. You don't know what you're talking about. No, of course Tom Brady, if he had a thought, overrides anybody else.
But I'm curious how much that like he actually did with the roster there, or like how much Mark Davis actually listens to him. Like, that's my question, right? Like,
Tom Brady tried and almost was able to buy the Miami Dolphins and make himself the starting quarterback of the team. I do not think he is respecting that. I better not cross a line here and there. I don't know what anybody within the Raiders would concede. I bet you he does have. I do think he probably does weigh in.
How much do they actually like care about his opinion?
All the way. What do you think Mark Davis thinks? Like, you don't know what you're talking about, Tom Brady. Of course, they must bend the knee. I'm sure they do. When he weighs in, I'm sure they're like, okay. Now, not only is he the GOAT, but he's also a part owner. I guess we better listen to him, right? I mean, I think we're being naive if you think Tom Brady isn't all over it.
It didn't work out in year one, so good job with that.
Doesn't mean he's right. Michael Jordan doesn't know what he's doing when he's trying to do it. Ted Williams,
the Hornets.
Ted Williams wasn't a good manager. If you're too good, it gets in the way.
Oh yeah, the Hornets. The Hornets did not do well with Michael Jordan. To be fair, they've done well with nobody. So I think they're different jobs. I'm okay with Tom keeping the Fox job.
Okay. Next. Gino.
All right. Tony Romo, not in postseason form.
Per usual.
That's then. He's not very good. I want to know what happened on the play. I don't need to know what might happen on the play, what you think might happen before the play, or just some random fact about the game, the play that's about to happen. I want to know why the play happened. The best guys at this, Greg Olson, even Tom Brady's getting much better at it. JJ Watt. Like, they tell you what happened on the play that you're watched. Tell me what happened, Romo, on the play we're watching. I don't care what happens before the play. He's so big at just he's predicting the play. I don't give a shit. Tell me what's happened on the play, dude.
I think Harry Carey was a great play-by-play guy. I think Myron Cope was a great color analyst. Howard Cosell was known to enjoy a drink during the game. So was Dandy Don. Every athlete ain't wired the same. Every broadcaster ain't wired the same. Some guys John Elway can get away with stinking for 3 quarters and then save the day. Brock Purdy can probably not get away with the same thing. What I'm saying is Tony Romo cannot behave like Harry Carey. Oh, is that a pop of champagne? Glug, glug, glug. Yeah, I think...
Wait, are we saying he's been a little sauced in the booth?
No, I don't think he's sauced in the booth, but I don't know. He sure sounds like it. That the overly... the statements about things, like he just keeps saying, and this is a guy who calls out where the ball is going to go pre-snap, or at his best when he first started was magical. Remember how much... We all swooned over his ability to divine where the ball was about.
And then he gets everything wrong now. That's the problem. He's like,
that's what I'm saying. Right.
Jim, it's a pass now, and they run the ball. You're like, thanks, Tony, for that information. Really good.
It's the regression that's... It's the regression that stands out to me, that now he wants credit for saying stuff like, after a good Trevor Lawrence throw or a good defensive play by the Jags, like, I'm telling you, Jim, they're for real. I told you these Jags are for real. Yeah, they won 13 games. Well, Tony Romo, you're the number one. I think that was a blender. Wow, he's really getting busy up there. That's what gets in the way, is when he's blending his margaritas as he tries to provide some analysis of the game. Yeah, it's bad, and I don't think anybody questions that that their number 2, that J.J. Watt is now superior. And what's funny about it is it's the same issue that Fox has, and everybody was talking about a year ago, that Greg Olsen is better than Tom Brady. And now I think the same can be said for CBS's broadcasting teams, right? I mean, they really...
Brady's gone a lot better. That thing about the wind yesterday and like the point of the ball was really good.
All right. He's not a Make-A-Wish kid. Like, everybody's treating the GOAT like, oh, look at it. He did a good analysis. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to be doing, everybody.
Dave, I have a question about left from me last. What do you eat at Shakey's? I need to know the menu of the Shakey's. The
Mojo potatoes are very good. That's their signature item. The pizza is passable.
So terrible. Okay, good. I was just curious. I thought it was bad. I just wanted to know. I didn't.
They have that one of those old school salad bars, which I love.
Oh, like the Sizzler salad bar.
Yeah, I like the key to a good salad bar salad is the lettuce will usually let you down, but right. The hard-boiled egg, I've been known and taken to task by people for doing this. I don't really like the yellow so much, but I know some people do like it for its protein and otherwise. So with the tongs at the salad bar, sometimes I'll squeeze the yellow out and just take the white. And then I've been yelled at. What are you're leaving the yellow behind for somebody? Yeah, I thought somebody might want to eat it.
No, Dave,
I'm not wasting food.
No,
I'm leaving food behind for somebody who might want it.
Plate. You do it on your own plate.
But then I'm wasting the yellow. It goes in the garbage because I'm not going to eat it.
No one is taking the yellow out of the freaking thing with no egg around it.
Who are you to make that decision for someone else? Maybe somebody comes along to the salad bar, is like, ooh, extra yellow, just what I want. You don't see that? Why am I the bad guy for this? So I'm always cast as the bad guy for this. Fuentes, boys, weigh in here.
You're clearly the villain. Like, who wants that there? Yeah. No one that leave behind something like.
I think part of it is that nobody trusts how that got there.
What if you wanted the pizza?
Good point.
Yeah. What if you wanted the pizza and you just took the toppings? Like, I'll leave the bread there for somebody else. Who's I'll leave the rest of the crust and all the other crap. I'll leave that there. You think that person's a serial killer?
My wife gets very upset with me when I take like a piece of cake and I'll shave off like just a side of it. And she's like, "Look what you did to the cake." And I'm like, I took only the amount I was going to eat. Don't you see that was considerate of everybody else?
You're still leaving a full piece of cake.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
That's different, though.
I had a sister that would come home from college and then go into our cookie dough ice cream and eat all the cookie dough and leave all the ice cream. You're floating on that level.
No, okay, now that's bad.
That's
right.
evil.
You don't right. Okay, you don't go into the Lucky Charms and eat only the right.
You're doing the same thing.
That's crossing a line.
You're doing the same thing.
Yeah, Dave,
don't you see?
Yeah. Similar.
That you're a serial killer?
Why the white are you? So you're submitting that the white is the better part of
you
the
take
egg?
the whole
I
thing
don't
or
know
you
that
take
people would
nothing,
agree
Dave.
with that.
You take the whole thing or you take
I'm
nothing?
submitting that you should
all
that
or
you
nothing.
can just that you
nothing.
if you want to make a change to your egg habit, your egg consumption, you do it on your own plate, not in the shared bowl.
I listen, as society's greatest empath, that's what I'm just trying to do. I don't know what other people want just because I want it. I'm not so narcissistic that because I like the white, I assume everybody else only likes the white too. Some other people might like the yellow more than they like the white. All right, it's a shame that we have to do this. We didn't hear the Han Solo edition blaster once. Until now, it's time to fix that. You're all jerks. Taste the blaster. You don't question what I do with my hard-boiled eggs, the remnants of it. I try to leave them for other human beings to enjoy. Put a little food in their belly. Now I'm miffed, and now I'm out of here. And by the way, at the time of this recording, we're mere minutes away from kickoff. Houston Texans, Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope the next time we speak, we are talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers' upcoming visit to Foxborough, where they always do well, right, everybody? Either way, we'll be back on Friday to help try and make sense of what's upcoming in the divisional round. Until then, for Geoff Schwartz and everybody on Football America, thanks so much, my fellow Football Americans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.